state calls Nicholas LeFleur. Sir, please...
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, have a seat. Talk into the microphone.
You invoke the rule, Your Honor?
Sure. Rules and votes.
I'm sorry? With regard to the invocation of the rule, our case agent is in the room. We just wanted to put that on the record.
The prosecutor indicated that they'd be calling the case agent early in the case, so given that, I did not continue my objection that I had earlier to her being present. Thank you.
Case agents allowed in.
Sir, state your name and spell your last name for the court record, please.
My name is Nicholas LeFleur. My last name is spelled L-E-F-L-E-U-R.
And how are you currently employed?
The City of Santa Fe Police Department.
And what do you do there?
Police officer.
How long have you been employed at the City of Santa Fe?
2 years.
Can everyone hear Officer LeFleur? Okay. And prior to working for the Santa Fe Police Department, did you work anywhere else?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you work?
The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department.
And how long did you work at the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department?
About 2 years.
And were you on duty on October 21st of 2021?
Yes.
Did you receive a dispatch call?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you received and what you did?
A call came in that there was someone shot at a movie set. Unclear who shot, how many were shot. I happened to be the closest person to the call and arrived on scene first.
So when you arrived on scene, when you say first, were there other law enforcement officers there?
No, not at the time when I got there.
Were there any other first responders present?
There was some fire personnel and what they called the scene medic for the movie set, I guess.
You said a scene medic?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you, let me ask you, when you receive a call for a shooting, what's your primary concern?
Priority life.
And what do you mean when you
sure,
say priority life?
make sure whoever needs help gets help and that the threat is stopped.
And when you arrived on the scene, and where was it?
Bonanza Creek movie set, I guess. It's quite a ways off the interstate.
Okay. And what county and state is that in?
Santa Fe County, state of Mexico.
Okay. So when you arrived there, give us an idea of what you saw. What was going on?
It was a big, old, like cowboy western themed, like city or a town. There's a bunch of people running everywhere, bunch of cars, bunch of people pointing. When I got there, people were pointing towards a church, and I got out. And I attempted to grab my medical bag and went in and saw.
Hang on, I'm gonna stop you there. Approximately how many people were there on scene?
I don't have the direct number, but there was more than 100 people.
Have you ever been called to a shooting where there were 100 people already on scene?
No.
Did that present any specific challenges for you?
Yes.
Explain to us what those challenges were.
Just there's a lot of moving parts. Just got to take it one piece at a time. See who's hurt. Make sure that one, that nobody's continually getting hurt, and then two, the person who's hurt, medical attention is being given to them, and then go from there.
Okay. And when you arrived on scene that day, were you running your body-worn camera?
Yes.
The state moves for the admission of State's Exhibit 4.
No further objections, Your Honor.
Am I?
Are you,
I want to just make sure I'm connected. I'm ready to play it.
all right, is he gonna-
Permission to publish?
Was he going to recognize it first, or are you satisfied with the foundation?
Yes, Your Honor, we've consented to both lapel videos
All right,
today.
that's fine. Okay. So you may publish, this is States 1?
4.
States 4.
How do I get the monitors to come on?
Brian's going to do it.
Okay.
Do you know how to do it? Go ahead, do it.
All right.
Looks like comments are here at the gate. Tell them that I'll drop them off at the Metropolitan.
Hold on, his monitor's not on. Are your monitors on? Yes.
This one's not.
We'll turn it on.
It's on, but it's green light.
Green light's on.
Let me go get the adapter.
Well, can he redo it from here while he's looking? Or do you want?
Sure, if the monitor won't just come on?
He's got to get the adapter. Go get the adapter. All right.
Okay. Officer LeFleur, do you want to turn around and just look at the monitor on the wall behind you?
It doesn't matter, man.
Okay, let's do that.
You got your tunnel kit? Yeah, I'm trying to get it out. Stupid new truck. Are we inside with the BBMs?
Officer LeFleur, tell us what's going on in the video right now.
I'm looking for my other medic bag. I handed the individual a trauma pack for shooting, and I'm attempting to open one of the storage boxes in the back of the truck.
Who was the individual that you handed something to?
I believe it was a fire personnel that I followed in, a volunteer firefighter maybe.
And I thought I heard the word, is it BVM?
It's for CPR. It's a bag valve mask.
Valve mask.
BVM.
Okay, thank you.
Where you at?
A seal. You have a seal?
A seal?
Seal.
I got a sterile glove and a packing gloves.
Okay.
Right here.
Are you going to look there?
Over there?
Yep.
My hand is on it. Talking?
What about this guy? What's his...
Where's that? Over your right shoulder. Stop.
Oh, we're going to get you up in the side.
Who she shot at?
She came in here and went across her chest.
And came
Okay.
out the back and went into the...
You want air flight?
Yeah, we got one in route.
Okay.
And what are you talking about there when you say air flight?
Helicopter that's designed to transport people that need advanced treatment faster than an ambulance. It's a helicopter that air paramedics basically.
Did you call for the helicopter, or did someone else do that? Do you know?
That individual said that they had already called one, but I called one for one as well.
You called also?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you feel that it was necessary to have a helicopter arrive?
Someone who was shot across the chest. We're quite a ways out for an ambulance in reference to where the hospital is. So.
And when you say you were quite a ways out, how far away is Bonanza Creek?
From a hospital?
Sure.
Running lights and sirens, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or more.
Okay.
.32 Santa Fe, one female shot in the chest, male shot in the stomach, requesting air flight.
Requesting air flight.
I heard you there say male shot in the stomach. Is that what you said?
I'm not sure. I didn't really hear it.
Well, as you sit here today, do you recall where the other person was shot?
Somewhere in the chest
Okay.
or shoulder area.
Thank you.
GPS forward.
It's okay.
I got you right here.
2432, how many people you have seen there?
32, I got just Santa Fe medics. No.
And as soon as we can get any details, at the time, requesting that information.
In your video, sir, can you identify who the set medic is?
It's a little blurry, but I believe it's this lady right. The one that's bent over with her blondish brown hair.
Is the monitor working now?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
Joe. Come on, Joe.
This monitor is working now.
Oh, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know how to touch it to put it? There you go. Thank you. I appreciate you. You can go ahead and remove that.
Oh, I don't know how to move it.
Can you show them how to remove it?
Oh, push on the menu button.
Clear.
And then there's a clear view.
Okay.
And if it's in the way, just push menu.
Do you know who these other people are that are in the room?
No, I know that that person, and somebody over here, the battalion chief, they were wearing Santa Fe medic, county fire medic shirts. So, and they came in the vehicle in front of me.
You don't know who the other people are that are in the room?
I know the other person shot, and then Elena Hutchins, or I maybe misspelled her name or pronounced it, and then the other assistant director, and that's about it.
Okay. And you mentioned that there was a truck pulling in ahead of you.
It was a volunteer firefighter truck.
So did the first responders that we see here in this scene, did they arrive about the same time you did?
Yes.
.32 Santa Fe both approximately 140 pounds, elderly male and young female. What do you need me? No. You want a BBM?
He's good. He's got a broken shoulder blade.
This is Alex. Repeat your information.
Are you flying her out?
Yeah, she'll be there.
For a bird up here, what we're going to do.
Officer LeFleur, tell us what you're doing now and why.
I looked over it and seen that they were getting the oxygen tank out. Noticed that they were using on a bag valve mask, which is more appropriate for that situation than the one that goes around their face. I'm just helping them, doing as much as I can to help.
So give us a little bit more information. What causes you to believe that the bag valve mask is more appropriate than the one that goes around your face? And when you say the one that goes around your face, what do you mean?
If the oxygen were to run out or they had to use manual breaths, they could use the bag. The other one is just something that's over their face.
Okay. And what made you think that the bag valve mask was more appropriate?
Nothing really. I just believe it's more, I don't know.
Officer LeFleur, are you trained in life-saving measures?
To an extent, yes.
Okay. Was it anything about your training that caused you to think that that would be more appropriate?
It's just what we've been trained with versus the one that was already on her.
Okay.
Gabby, can you just make sure nobody else comes in?
Yeah, we got air.
Do you have ears, ma'am? Do you have stethoscope? Yes, they're in that bag. Right there at the top. Purple? Nope, at the top. Helena.
Is anybody allowed to go with her in the helicopter?
No.
Helena, deep breath. Deep breath, Helena. There you go. Deep breath, Helena. Deep breath.
Be okay.
Good girl.
Okay.
There you go. Good girl.
In charge of that. Deep breath.
Deep breath.
Jesus. I was behind you.
You're doing okay. Entrance is here. Exit's back here.
Okay. You guys
Do you have another?
pack it?
No.
What do you guys need?
I just need another dog tag.
Dog tag?
Something for pressure. I'll take a big one.
This one?
No, this one's good.
This one?
No. Ab pad? Do you have an ab pad?
Underneath the
Yeah.
shoulder blade, the costal area coming through and through.
You're not taking it. All right, thank you. I just need something big. Thank you.
You got a stretcher?
Not me here, no.
Okay. Let me help him get the stretcher. Stretcher.
What are you doing now?
Just trying to stay busy, help clear the way for the stretcher, the ambulances here.
Here's priority number one. Okay.
Let's start clearing it, all this stuff out of there. We get everything in here and get it out.
All right, we got air flight en route.
Not on me here. We can get it from the office. Helena? Hutchinson.
This is Helena Hutchinson. What side? On this side, Bobby.
Okay, we're gonna move.
Okay. So,
I got the air. Thank you.
get all that out?
I'm not behind you guys. All right,
We're gonna need to get her going right away.
Officer LeFleur, have additional first responders now arrived?
Yes.
Can you give us an idea of who's on set assisting now?
So it looks like more paramedics have arrived, and Lieutenant Benavides is right there.
Okay. And do you mean this gentleman here?
Yes, ma'am.
That my cursor's on? And who was Lieutenant Benavides?
He was our day shift lieutenant at the time.
Was he a supervisor?
Yes, ma'am.
We got a through and through on her. We went through and through on her, through the chest, and then you got one in the arm over there.
Everybody stop what they're doing right now. This is a crime scene. Okay, everybody stop.
Whose voice is that we're hearing?
Lieutenant Benavides.
Okay, roll it back. Roll over to the other side. See? One, two, three. All right, underneath, cool. Really good. All right, let's go up and down. Let's get going back. All right, let's get good carry here, okay? You keep your eyes on me, keep looking at me. Where's the Coast Guard? See the Coast Guard? You know where they're going to find out? Yeah, go what side? Just off the cover? I'll take that. All right, we got some stairs, guys. Couple stairs on the first step.
So what is your understanding about where Ms. Hutchins is being taken now?
Into the back of the ambulance.
And can you explain why is she going into the back of an ambulance rather than the helicopter?
The helicopter hasn't arrived yet, and my understanding is that they have additional medicines and equipment and measures they can take inside of an ambulance.
All right, thank you.
Disconnect there. You got it? Hey, can you take over that? You guys want to see Vincent? 32 Santa Fe, what's the ETA on the bird?
What did you just say?
I asked the ETA on the helicopter.
And who are you speaking to?
Santa Fe Dispatch.
Do you recall how they responded?
It's been a minute since I watched this video, so.
All right.
Oh, we got the bird right here.
Is the helicopter now arriving?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you doing now?
Appears I'm grabbing crime scene tape.
Why are you grabbing crime scene tape?
To start the crime scene. I don't know if anybody had told me to grab the tape yet, but I knew we needed to start one. So.
You felt that you needed to put up crime scene tape.
Yes, ma'am. Or somebody may have asked for it.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Or somebody may have asked me for it. I'm just not too sure.
Okay. And what's crime scene tape used for?
To mark the perimeter or the inner perimeter of essentially a crime scene which they want to tape off and only allow certain people in and out.
Okay. And was that an issue in this scene?
The crime scene?
Well, cordoning off the crime scene, was that an issue here?
Yeah, it was a unique situation because of the you can't really tie crime scene tape to nothing. So I think in one point they actually used our patrol units as to tie the tape around and go to the next one.
And why is it important to cordon that off?
Just for evidence purposes, allow only certain people in and out, because at this point we didn't know what was going on. So.
And were there people in that area that were not first responders?
Yes.
Approximately how many, if you recall?
I don't know. I couldn't give you a number really. There was just a lot of people on the outside that I hadn't seen originally inside the church. So.
Okay, and did you know who those people were?
No.
Okay. person here in the gray shirt?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that a first responder?
No.
So when the crime scene tape goes up, what happens to that person?
I can't recall.
Well-
I haven't watched the video yet.
Hypothetically, is that person allowed to stay inside the crime scene?
No.
Okay. Who are the people that are allowed to stay inside the tape?
Medical and for first responders.
Okay.
What do you need, Chief? I'm radioing for my command for my tell you guys, this was in the middle of a shot, and I have live ordnance on the ceiling up there. It's safe. Okay. But it is here, right above here. Okay. Right there. That's okay. And if you get to the point where you say you want me to move, all right. All my guys. Okay. Where's the bird? It's right here. Okay.
What are you doing now?
I talked with the paramedics inside the ambulance, and they asked me where the helicopter was. I told them it was landing, and he asked them to bring the paramedics to them.
So you're bringing the paramedic from the helicopter to the ambulance?
Yes.
All right.
We got approximately 23-year-old female in the back of the ambulance right now. Gunshot underneath the right arm. Went through all the way to the back left. Can you carry this back for you, sir? I got it. You got it? This one's priority.
Guys, just get a couple IDs. They're not sure whether they're IOs or not.
Here, grab the IO stuff.
Can you open your eyes for me?
Yep.
I have to work on the IO. I'm going to come around. That's it.
If I could just have you guys just step over there for us, okay? Can I have you guys get over there for us? We're going to have to gather everybody up, get everybody's names, everybody who's on scene, okay?
What are you doing now?
Just trying to think what's next. I think I'm putting one of the pilot's headgear inside the ambulance on the other side of the door.
Why are you telling those people to move?
Just to start to gather people up, because they're just standing around the church where the said incident happened.
Why didn't you do that when you initially got there?
Just went in and made sure that medical that people were receiving medical treatment, and then slowly go with the flow, see what it could do next.
Are you trained to take action to save lives before moving witnesses around?
Yes, ma'am.
How's it going, sir? I believe you guys will be taking this one.
In the bird then? Did she go in the bird?
No, not yet. They're in IVs, getting IO, and then they're going to take in the bird.
They're coming out, watch yourself.
They're moving it from this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple of them still.
Is that your stuff?
And whose jacket is that?
Joel's.
Joel's? Okay.
It's got his phone. It's careful, it is bloody.
Okay.
It's got his phone, it's got his other stuff in it.
Okay, well, we're going to just keep it here. So,
Even his phone?
Officer LeFleur, this woman who's speaking right now, she's not a police officer, right?
No.
Was she employed with the fire department?
No, she was their set medic, I'm guessing.
When you say set medic, do you mean she's the medic on the movie set?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he was wearing it. Well, where's his phone at?
I don't know.
Do you have any idea why movie sets would have medical personnel on scene?
It's probably for safety reasons. Someone closer than the paramedics or fire department.
For safety reasons?
Yeah.
Phone.
Anybody have Joel's phone? Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, how can we help you?
I just need your IDs, and then have you guys step outside and wait for the investigators to get here. Okay? Okay, cool.
Any idea who these guys are?
Just more people involved with the movie set.
Movie set employees?
Yeah.
Is that your impression?
Yes, ma'am.
And who's the props guy? Who's in charge of props?
She has green and purple hair. You can't miss her.
Okay.
I was here when it happened.
You were here when it happened?
Yes, sir.
Who else was here when it happened?
My gap is surge. The camera operator. It's in his front pocket.
How many people you think were in here when it happened?
3, maybe 4.
4?
Maybe.
Okay. So 2 more other than you 2?
Reed, as soon as I see him, he
Reed?
was the camera operator. Reed, yes, sir.
Okay, who else?
Reed Russell was here. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was the actor on set that pulled the trigger.
Alec Baldwin?
Yes, sir.
Where's he at?
We got one.
Yeah, you'll help me find him?
Yes, sir. Baldwin's right there on the cell phone with the cowboy hat.
Okay. How's it going, sir? So my understanding, you were in the room when someone was shot?
Holding the gun, yeah.
Okay, alrighty.
What do you need?
Well, I know your name, so it's
Pursuant to the stipulation, I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead.
Very good.
I want to make sure this is the right part. Okay.
Let me get with my lieutenant and see where we want you to hang out, okay?
Whatever you want to do. Whatever.
Yes, sir. All right, give me just a second. LT. So
apparently I was not given the appropriate redaction. You want me to jump ahead 5 seconds now? What? I need to know what to do, or I just press play. What do I do?
Do you want to pull the trigger? Do you want me to have him sit tight or?
Yeah, you're gonna have to sit tight.
Sit tight in the
I
unit?
have the armor in here. This is all their stuff. I have the gun used is in there.
And I got the 2 people that were in the room.
Okay.
You want me to have Alec Baldwin take a seat in the back of my unit, or?
No, we know where he's at. We know who he is.
Yeah.
We just need to say, is he in a trailer?
No, he's right there, in the gray and black.
Okay. All right. So try to keep him away from everybody.
Okay.
Have him talk to anybody.
Okay. I can just have him sit. I can sit with him in my unit.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Officer LeFleur, at this point in time, what's your intention?
I was going to go back to where Mr. Baldwin was and then escort him to my unit. When I got there, I realized my unit is over here being used as a post for the crime scene.
So what did you do when you realized that?
Just had him sit where he was and had everybody just hang out there. Started writing down people's names.
Okay.
Earplugs, everything.
All right.
What are these people doing?
Seems like they're talking about what happened.
Now, as a law enforcement officer, is that something that concerns you?
Yes.
And why? Why does that concern you?
They could be, one person could be telling them what they saw and mess up what they have to say what they saw. So it could essentially coerce testimony, I guess. People would say the same thing because the other person said it, rather than saying their own opinion or own view of what they saw.
Okay.
Mr. Baldwin, who's the director on scene?
The guy that was shot at the shoulder.
The guy that was shot? Okay.
Where is he now?
I think he's in the ambulance.
Do you guys have a production car? Or?
There's an AD. Name is Dave. I'm waiting for you right now.
Okay.
I'm happy to stay right here and do everything that he's.
Well, my lieutenant just wants you to stay away from everybody and not to talk to nobody. So I was.
Wait right here.
We can wait right here and have everybody step back, or we can wait in the back of a patrol unit. But I prefer to not put you there. Okay.
Alex, you want something? You want water or something now?
I want to find props and get a cigarette.
So, why did you let Mr. Baldwin sit there instead of putting him in some vehicle and separating him from the other witnesses?
Like I said, my unit was clear across being used as a post, and just because I didn't know what we had right there, came to maintain cooperation with people involved.
Well, it sounds like you gave him an option. You let him choose, is that right?
Yeah, he wanted to stay right there, and I figured if I could keep him there, I didn't see a big problem with it until later on when people were talking and whatnot.
And did you give Mr. Baldwin instructions about whether or not he could speak to people?
I did tell him to stop talking.
And did you give instructions to the other witnesses that were around?
I didn't tell them, but I told them that he had to sit there and not talk to nobody.
Okay.
I got it. What do you got? You got medium? Marble medium? We'll take it.
Sure you don't want a cigar?
Hands are shaking. Try
Yes, sir.
Right, I'm right there. The silver car is Alec's vehicle. If you want to put him in there.
Maybe Mr. Baldwin, is that your car?
Yeah.
We can wait in there.
You want me to stay here?
We can wait in your car if you want to.
I can't smoke in the car.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can wait. Hang out right here then.
Is Joe gone? They both gone?
Well, they're still working on the female. If you haven't seen the helicopter take off, then they're not gone yet.
If you know, Officer LeFleur, why hadn't the helicopter taken off yet?
I don't know exactly why, but my guess is they have to stabilize the patient before they can put him in the air.
In the air, okay.
Inquire with the where you
Why are you just standing there?
Just standing with Mr. Baldwin, allowing him to smoke a cigarette, making
And
sure.
why is it important for you to be standing there?
Essentially, he's detained, not free to leave, so I'm there with him.
37 Kenny, route to Banana Creek. I say myself there, 65, 75,
right there, he took his radio off. That's our first AD.
That one right there?
Talking to. Guy with the white hair. Running that sheriff's car with the gray hair kind of in the
Okay.
shirt.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, I got an officer over here by now. With electric truck. It's great.
Why do you have these two gentlemen standing over there that we can see? What is there something important about them?
The guy in the gray I had him stand over there because he was inside the room when I first got at the church, and the other guy in the brown apparently was in the church too. So I just wanted everybody who was in the church in one area so we could easily be found.
So you wanted everyone that was in the church in one area.
Yes, ma'am.
And are we looking at that area?
To the left of Baldwin is where majority of everybody was. Yes.
Okay. And those were the witnesses that were in the church?
From what I was told, yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Baldwin, how many people were in the room when it happened?
I don't remember. It's a crew.
It's a crew?
A dozen people, but a lot of crews outside that building. He'll tell you.
Okay.
He's the one that knows what was on staff. He's asking how many people were in the room at the time.
How's it going, sir? Deputy LeFleur. How many people were in the room at the time? Six?
7.
Officer LeFleur, who's this gentleman who's speaking now in the blue jean shirt?
From what I was told, he was one of the other directors.
6 or 7? I need a definite answer.
I don't know.
Okay. So I got one here, the two that were injured, that makes 3, and then these two gentlemen, 4, 5. So who would be the other 2?
Yeah, he's got Ross.
More than 6?
Supervisor, I keep track of the narrative and how many was where. I can tell you who's in the room.
Okay. Were you in the room?
I was at the door.
You were at the door? Can I get your ID?
Do you know whether or not the person in the jean shirt was inside the church and witnessed the incident?
I do not know.
Okay, why don't you come on over to the back of Three two to 2-4. I have 380s for concussion.
She's really good at just yelling at everybody and screaming at the police. Go back to Georgia.
Well, he was inside when the sun was.
Does it appear to you that Mr. Baldwin is speaking to the other witnesses?
I think he was talking about who would know who's in the room.
Okay.
I can't really hear it. And then apparently the guy's son was working there as well.
Okay. Is this an ideal way to separate someone from witnesses?
After looking at it, probably not, but that's what happened.
Okay, understood.
You arrived at the door? Do you have an ID on you, sir? As of right now, her status is questionable. That's why we called the air light. Where were you at, sir?
I was right behind him.
Right behind him? Okay.
Yeah, I was right behind him right when it happened.
All right. So just have you guys hang out for me right here. We'll get someone to get your statement in just a second, okay?
And then they cleared the gun outside after his request, and I witnessed them clear it and saw the bullets.
Okay. So
the one that was missing, the one that was fired, we don't know, but all the other ones were proper. They had loads.
Officer LeFleur, does it seem to you right now that they're talking about the incident?
It seems like they're talking about the gun that was used in the incident.
All right.
They reported loads, blanks.
They had loads. Well, they didn't know. They were just supposed to do their shake test before they put the gun in the load.
Officer, do you know what this conversation is about that we're watching right here?
Something about a shake test. I don't know. Maybe the rounds, dummy rounds, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not too entirely sure.
Do you agree with me that, well, was Mr. Baldwin supposed to be talking about the incident?
No, ma'am.
Does he appear to be doing it anyway?
Yes, ma'am.
We're rehearsing, you give me the empty gun. And we don't use any of the loads. That's hot until we're ready to shoot. So we put the earplugs in. You all right? I'm worried about her. Yeah, well, me as well, but what's your situation? She's stable now, I think. Hit her in the back of the truck. Hit her where both of them took it in the shoulder. Hers came out the other shoulder, which is why it's not there. His, the shoulder blade stopped there. So, shattered. There's basically a rotting into blank, but because I think it was based on the sound of how much ringing I had, I think it was a half.
Officer, are they still talking about the incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a reason that you didn't stop them since you told them not to?
I think as time goes on, I tell them to stop.
And that's if the barrel.
okay.
If the barrel is. But who knows what else is in the room? My other hand.
You were in the room?
Effects crew.
Okay. Can you get your ID, sir?
That's what I said. I think there was more than 6 or 7 guys. I think it was about 8.
You see this gentleman over here on the left?
Yes, ma'am.
Any reason to believe he was inside the room at the time?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point.
Okay.
Were you in the room too, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Where did it hit him? He went over this.
He took it to the right shoulder. His right shoulder blade stopped it, but they're hearing stuff in his head.
And where did she? He went out to that.
Did they take him as he got? As soon as they were allowed to. So they'll stabilize both, and then once the sheriff says you're good to go, they'll let them go.
And she's going to you.
So she basically they're trying to stabilize her vital signs, enough for the flight and administer any kind of narcotics or anything they need, blood thinners and that may be, then they'll load her up in the helicopter and they'll fly her there. I believe the other ambulance is on the other side, and he seems to be doing better than she was, so they might drive him in an ambulance.
I heard him wave off the other bed, so.
Where did they put her? They went out and took her out and took her, right?
Both of them took it in the shoulder.
When I was up in Joel, I didn't see nothing on him before they put me out.
They just went over.
Yeah,
I ran out.
I came back in the fuse and I was helping him and I didn't see nothing. I was asking if he was alright. He couldn't hear me.
You and them at the trauma hospital.
Still at St. Vincent's. They're both trauma ones. So.
Thanks for the information. I was curious.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just put the ring on my wife.
Yeah, no problem.
I got more out.
Get him out of my life. There's nobody in his life. He walked around.
Officer LeFleur, have more first responders now arrived?
Off to your right, you can see. There it is. Off to your right, you can see more patrol units showing up. This deputy showed up, but this corporal had been there for a minute.
And approximately how long have you now been on scene?
According to my body cam, a little over 25 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Corporal. I got 7 people there in the room when it happened, all their IDs, so.
Okay. Just get it all brought down. I'm not sure what the CID's come out for this.
It's okay.
At that point in time, what was your understanding of how many people were in the room and witnessed it?
I believe I said 7.
Okay. Do you know whether or not that turned out to be true?
I think there was actually more. I wrote all the people who said that they were in the room in my report.
Okay.
Hey, sir. Okay. And I'm just hanging out with him because he's the one who pulled the trigger. So.
Okay. Yeah, he tried it. Sorry, I was trying to set things up a while ago and. Whatever you can do. What are you smoking? Got one on you?
You got a notepad? Ready? All right. Do you have a notepad?
Officer LeFleur, at this point in time, I know he's no longer in the frame, but the gentleman in the blue denim shirt, do you know whether or not he was in the room at the time?
I don't recall if he was in the room or not.
Okay.
I know there was some director or whatnot there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have mine either. Yeah, that's why you start. Yeah, I know. It came off when I was given, trying to pack wounds. Yeah. Okay.
Officer LeFleur, does it look like Mr. Baldwin is speaking to a potential witness?
He just looks like he's talking to the guy who says his name is one of the directors, yes.
Okay. Is that what you had in mind when you asked Mr. Baldwin not to speak to anyone?
No.
Do you know what they're talking about?
I couldn't hear what they were talking about. I did hear him ask him what cigarettes he was smoking and if he could have one. So.
Careful, he has a bunch of loose cards in there.
Oh, geez. All right.
Or do you want to just try some pages off?
No, because I'm going to be writing quite a bit. Everybody was in the room. I mean, I have my phone on me. Yeah. It's all right. I'll just, yeah, I'll write it down.
Do you see the gentleman in the denim shirt gesturing? You want me to back it up?
Yeah, which one? Are we talking about this gentleman?
Yeah. Do you know what he's gesturing?
No, it looks like he picks up his hand. Now that you play it back, it looks like he's shaking his hand.
And had you seen him do that previously?
No, not until just now.
I thought you testified earlier about a shake test.
The gentleman was talking about a shake test.
Okay.
But I had not seen the director do it until reviewing the footage now.
Okay.
My eyes aren't always exactly where the body cam's pointed, so.
Absolutely. When you tell people not to talk about the incident, do you have an expectation that they'll follow your instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it look like they're following your instructions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Officer LeFleur, I'm going to stop the video there. What else did you do on scene that day?
I helped essentially just wait with other witnesses, I guess, or people that wanted to give a statement or they needed a statement from at a different location. It was their base camp is what they called it.
So you needed to take statements from people that were at another location? Is that what you said?
No, we took people from essentially where we had them, and they took them down to their base camp, and that's where they started interviews.
And the people that you take to base camp, are those the same people that we see here in the video?
I believe so. Those people, and I don't know how many people they ended up interviewing.
Did at any point in time did Mr. Baldwin tell you that he didn't pull the trigger of the gun?
I believe he told me he was holding the gun. I believe in the beginning when I was leaving the church, one of the guys said that Baldwin had pulled the trigger. So just off of what was told.
And I know that this sounds ridiculous, but we have to follow some jurisdictional rules. Do you see Mr. Baldwin in this frame here?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you point him out, please? And do you see that same gentleman in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you point him out, please?
He's sitting in the middle with the glasses.
Okay. Anything else that you did of import that you can think of that you think the jury should hear about?
I think that's about it.
How long were you on scene, if you recall?
From when I got there was, I don't know, about 10 hours maybe or so. I was there till dark.
You were there for 10 hours.
Yeah, until they were done interviewing people.
Is that typical?
It is if that's what they need to be done. So
Okay. Your Honor, just for the record, we would ask that the record reflect that Officer LeFleur has identified the defendant.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
May I proceed?
Sorry, Mr. Spiro.
Oh, sorry.
Get that out of your way.
I may have to interrupt your process.
It's always fine when the court interrupts me. Sorry. May I proceed?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
When you got to the scene, Mr. Baldwin walked up to you and said, I was holding a gun. He blurted it out, right?
yes,
And in fact, he was very shocked, if you could picture Alec Baldwin in a pale state, you know, very unsure of himself. You could say an actor out of character. Fair?
sure.
Object to the former question. It is Mr. Spiro testifying in the question.
We are not going
Okay.
to do these without this.
May we approach?
When you saw Mr. Baldwin, he looked very shocked. If you could picture Mr. Baldwin in a pale state, you know, like unsure of himself, you could say an actor out of character. Is that a fair description?
Sure.
And he said to you, I'm here, whatever you want to do, right?
Yes.
He said to you at one point, where should I go? Right?
Yes.
And he also pointed out to you who the director was on scene who was hit in the shoulder, right?
I believe so. Yes. I inquired about him.
And he also asked you how she was doing, right? Meaning Miss Hutchins, right?
Yes.
I don't remember you being asked about that in direct, were you?
And you being asked by the state?
Yeah.
Objection relevance?
Overruled.
So I want to take a step back. The dispatch that came over to your radio, sir, before you got to the scene was a dispatch for an accidental shooting by a prop gun, correct?
I believe that's what was told to me, yes.
Okay. And you've testified to that previously, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the dispatch report, you know that you received that wording, accidental discharge, several times, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So I want to ask you, how come when you described it today in court, how come you didn't include the word accident when you testified before this jury?
I'm not one to say if it was an accident or not. Just there to initially respond to it, and then the detectives determine whether or not it was an accident.
Well, sure, but every other time you've been asked about this, you've said it was an accident. And now today at the trial of Alec Baldwin, when you're talking to this jury, you left that word out. Isn't that true?
Not intentionally, no.
Did you meet with the prosecutors before you testified here today?
Just briefly in the room outside for them to tell me who was in order of what witness.
You've discussed your testimony previously with Ms. Morrissey, correct? Before today?
Just in a pretrial interview, yes.
We've talked about your lapel that was on. It's true, right, that the lapel is actually mandatory.
Yes.
Right? And so they came to the officers, passed a law, and told you had to wear your lapel, right?
Yes.
And the way it works is it secures all of these statements, and when you're done wearing it for the day, you go back to the station, you log it in, and then it exists, right?
Essentially, yeah, but it's more complex than that. It uploads on itself.
Oh, it self-uploads so that it maintains itself?
Yes.
Okay. And you then talked a little bit about the securing of the scene, and you talked about crime scene tape going up, right?
Yes.
But as you just told this jury, at the time, you don't know whether this is an accident or not, right?
Yes.
It's not like a crime scene tape is some evidence of a crime, right?
Whether it was an accident or a crime scene is still essential.
And you've been very candid that you made some mistakes at this scene, right?
Yes.
And that you've learned since then about some of these mistakes, right?
Yes.
You've said hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yes.
And you can Monday morning quarterback decisions, but you made them in the field, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you've said that based on your training and experience, you know that if witnesses are left to speak to each other, they can taint each other's memories, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that's incidental and accidental, right?
Yes.
And sometimes it's purposeful, right?
Depends on who's there, yes.
Well, if you were with somebody and somebody was talking to you about the 911 call, right? And they kept saying to you over and over, it wasn't an accident, it wasn't an accident. And then you testify and you leave out the word accident. That could be an example of taint, couldn't it?
Sure.
And also, non-witnesses can taint people's memories too. You agree with me?
I guess.
Well, at one point in your testimony previously, you had said that there was a lawyer on the scene that was talking to some of the people that were on the scene.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And if that lawyer told somebody on the scene, I think your understanding is that could have tainted their view of their memory, right?
Essentially, yes.
Mr. Baldwin never asked to speak to that lawyer, did he?
Not to my recollection.
And then you went on and you said, that you had told Mr. Baldwin not to speak to the other witnesses. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
And I think you were asked approximately 5 times why Mr. Baldwin was disobeying your orders. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. But in the lapel video that we just saw, you're not going up to Mr. Baldwin or these witnesses, but get out of here. Get out of here. I'm an officer. You got to separate. You don't do that, right?
Nope.
And also in that video, you can see a lot of these people are coming over to Mr. Baldwin, right?
Yes.
One of them comes over and shakes his hand, right?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that in all of your experience? Somebody commit a homicide, and everybody and all the witnesses are on the scene, circling around the person, shaking his hand and talking to him about what happened. Have you ever seen that in your entire career?
No.
And then you went on to say, well, you didn't put him in the cruiser. You didn't put him in the cruiser because your cruiser was being used. Was I guess the reason that you gave? Was that? Did I understand that right?
My patrol unit was being actively used as a post on the other side of the field for a crime scene.
When you say a post, you mean like it goes somewhere else and you put the tape around it? Is that?
The side mirror was wrapped around with crime scene tape.
Uh-huh. You mean there were also another dozen officers on the scene that day that had police cars if they wanted to put Mr. Baldwin in it at any point, right?
Yep.
Okay. And in fact, Mr. Baldwin later on drives himself to the precinct and goes and speaks to the police, right?
I'm not too sure how he got there, but he did get there.
Well, he wasn't under arrest, right?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And so you use this word detained. When Ms. Morrissey asked you, well, were you detaining Mr. Baldwin? Do you remember that question?
Yes.
Isn't it true that even today, years later, no police officer has ever arrested Mr. Baldwin or detained him in a police car? True?
I don't know.
The police department, the Santa Fe Police Department, has never arrested Mr. Baldwin.
Not the Santa Fe
Back to the
Police
form of
Department.
question, asked and answered.
And one of the things that you do as an officer on the scene is you observe demeanor, right?
Yes.
And you spent 10 hours on the scene, I think I heard you say, right?
Yes.
You got to see the people of Rust that day live, right?
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is that you took it as a way how everybody was acting, and that the individual who claimed to have been holding the firearm was still there, that there was the way he was, his demeanor was that there wasn't any intention behind the act, as you could say. Isn't that true?
I wouldn't say there was no intention. I don't know the individual's intentions, but his demeanor was sad, upset.
Okay, well, it's not just his demeanor being sad and upset. right? Okay, I'm going to move that to the side. And I understand you're not a mind reader, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. All you can do is look at the people and look at how they're interacting and make your own judgments, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you do that as a police officer to try to figure out how to interact with a scene. True?
Yes.
Okay, and isn't it true that the way you took it, how everybody was acting and that the individual who claimed to have been holding the firearm was still there, that there was the way he was, his demeanor was that there wasn't any intention behind the act, as you could say. Isn't that true?
Again, the wording you're using, I wouldn't say I had any clue of whose intention was what, but he was sad and upset.
Okay, well, let's play. I'm going to play his statement to that effect. Can we cue that up, please, if that's okay with the court? He's saying he didn't say that he did. I'm going to impeach him.
I don't think he said he didn't.
Well, you want me to clarify that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you claiming that you didn't say that?
Rephrase what you said?
Sure. Dispatch said it was an accidental shooting by a prop gun. So I didn't know if there was any. I took it as the way how everybody was acting and that the individual who claimed to have been holding the firearm was still there, that there was the way he was, his demeanor was that there wasn't any intention behind the act, as you could say, you know.
Again, I wouldn't say I knew what his intention was.
I understand that. What I'm asking you now, okay, is did you in fact say those words that I just asked you?
At what time? The Gutierrez or PTI?
Yes.
I may have.
Okay. You don't deny saying that?
Your Honor, let's approach
No.
if we can.
Sure. One more time, I'm just going to ask you, did you say that statement that I read?
If you're reading the statement and it says my name next to it, then I more likely said it. I just don't recall when.
And one of the other things that happened that day that I don't think we've talked about is you spoke to a witness who told you that a woman named Sarah was crying and shaking and going through the bullets and saying, I don't know how it got in there.
Objection, hearsay.
I'm asking the witness if he had that information.
He's making the statement, the hearsay statement is coming in.
Do you know whether anybody at the scene was, before you got there, shaking and going through the bullets and saying, I don't know how it got in there?
I don't know.
Okay. If we could refresh the witness with his lapel, and I would ask that can I put it up on just his screen?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that.
I would object because that's not proper refreshment. We don't refresh in front of the jurors. That's my objection.
What do you mean?
Well, if we're refreshing...
You know what? We're going to take a lunch break real quick, and we're going to be back at 1 o'clock, okay? Please don't talk among yourselves.
Rise for the jury. Which is the 911 dispatch.
Okay, is your witness going to recognize it? Or is it by stipulation? It's by stipulation. Okay.
That's what we agreed.
All right.
Okay, and if we could just, so that the jury can see, page 6, if we could just publish it to the jury.
Yes. States Defendant's 8? Is that 8? Defendant's 8 is admitted. You may publish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just real quick, you were using numbers. We assumed you guys were using letters for exhibits. We filed.
Oh, 8.
It's DX.
Okay.
Okay. Understood.
Numbers too?
Yeah, defense 8.
Are you doing numbers?
Yes, we filed our exhibit list first.
Okay, so you do letters.
It's DX8. It's DX.
Okay, and is this page, I can't see the page at the bottom. Is this page 6?
Yes.
Okay. And
Do you see how it says accident, accident, accident? I can touch it? Oh, accident.
yes, sir.
Okay. And then I would ask, the 911 is exhibits 9 and 10, which is now I and J, exhibits 9 and 10. That was entered into and played at opening by stipulation, and I'd ask to play and enter them and play exhibits I and J.
And this is by stipulation?
Yes, Your Honor.
I and J, which are, again, the 911 calls?
Yes.
Why are they 2 exhibits?
It just splits because of the EMS. It's the same
Okay.
story.
All right. So upon stipulation, not being corrected otherwise, go ahead.
Thank you. Can we turn the volume up?
You may publish.
This is 911. What's the location of your emergency? We need an ambulance out at Bonanza Creek Ranch right now. We've had 2 people shot on a movie set accidentally. You said someone was shot? 2 people accidentally with gunshots at on movie set, Bonanza Creek Ranch.
Okay, send it. I'll connect you with medical dispatcher. Don't hang up. San Jose Fire and EMS, what's the location of the emergency?
Bonanza Creek Ranch has had 2 people accidentally shot on a movie set by a prop gun. We need help immediately. Okay? This fucking AD that yelled at me at lunch because asking about revisions, this motherfucker. Did you see him lean over my table and yell at me? He's supposed to check the guns. He's responsible for what's happening.
Now, Mimi?
No. I'm a script supervisor.
How many people are injured?
2 that I know of. I was sitting, we were rehearsing, and it went off, and I ran out.
You heard some language, and then that he, the first assistant, was supposed to check the gun. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear anybody on the 911 call mention Alec Baldwin at all?
No.
I asked you before we broke about a prior statement. I asked you if you made a prior statement that we talked about a few times. So I'm just going to approach quickly and refresh your recollection. And this is November 30th, 2023, your pretrial interview, Officer LeFleur, and I'm just going to ask you to read down here.
Your Honor, and again, Mr. Spiro is testifying as he's handing it to the witness.
Just identify what the document is and then move away.
Does that refresh your recollection, sir?
Yes.
So it, and I'm just going to take this back. It is fair that you said when asked that it came in as like and appeared to be, and what the dispatch said, it was an accidental shooting by a prop gun. So I didn't know if there was any. I took it as the way how everybody was acting and that the individual who claimed to have been holding the firearm was still there, that there was
Objection, Your Honor.
the way he was.
Objection, Your Honor.
That refresh your recollection.
Yes.
Okay. And so is it in fact true that in your earlier statement you said, and it came in like and appeared to be what the dispatch said it was, an accidental shooting by a prop gun. So I didn't know if there was any, I took it as the way how everybody was acting and that the individual who claimed to have been holding the firearm was still there, that there was no, the way he was, his demeanor was that there wasn't any intention behind the act, as you could say, you know.
Yes.
You made that statement, correct?
Yes.
And I asked you also whether you remembered receiving any information as to the ammunition, whether they be prop or otherwise, that was at the scene. If you recalled Jerron Curtin, one of the individuals in the church, giving you information. Do you remember that?
There's a lot of people in the church giving information. Can you identify which one it was?
Sure. I asked you, do you remember whether or not somebody told you that Sarah was shaking and going through the book?
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay. This is hearsay coming in. Can we approach? I don't know what to do.
As I was saying, officer, did you learn at the scene whether or not Sarah was going through the bullets and saying, I don't know how it got there? Did you learn that information? Do you recall?
I don't remember. If you could refresh my memory to which part, which person said what.
Sure. And I'm just going to approach the witness and show him his lapel recording. Okay. Does that refresh your recollection?
It appears it's a recording type out of what my body-worn camera recorded, yes.
Okay. And when you learned this information, did you do anything with that information?
To be honest, it's the first time I've heard it in that detail. Body cameras pick up more audio than our ears do.
Okay. You also testified that the gentleman in the orange jacket came up to you and said, Alec pulled the trigger, or words to that effect. Remember that testimony?
That's what he said, yes.
Yeah, and you know that witness has stated absolutely he did not see him pull the trigger, correct?
At that point, I didn't know if he said that or not.
Okay. And then I just want to ask you about one other thing we talked about this morning. Was I asked you about your testimony on direct that Mr. Baldwin was effectively disobeying police orders. Do you remember that testimony on direct?
Yes.
And over the lunch break, have you had a chance to reflect on that testimony?
Sure.
Okay. Do you think it's a fair, honestly, sir, a fair characterization to this jury to say that Mr. Baldwin was disobeying police orders at the scene?
He was given an order, but I didn't repeatedly tell him not to. I was on my bad.
And so don't you think that given what actually happened at the scene, that really, in all fairness to Mr. Baldwin, he wasn't really disobeying police orders, was he, sir?
To an extent, yes.
You were the first officer on scene.
Yes.
And you did your best, no question, right?
Yes.
And you're aware, right, because a lot of this testimony I'm not going to get into, you're aware as you sit here that the issue of Ms. Hutchins passing is not a contested issue by the defense. You know that?
Yes.
Yeah. And you did sort of corral the witnesses, I think you said, right?
Yes.
And then after you did that, you turned them over, in essence, to the lead detective, Detective Pinot.
Yes.
Okay. And he interviewed those witnesses, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know if he's testifying for the state in this case?
Objection.
I don't know.
Relevance, Your Honor.
You want to move on or withdraw?
Sure.
Ignore the question and the non-answer or if we got one.
Do you know how the live bullet got on set?
I do not.
Do you know why the armorer loaded the live bullet into the pop gun?
I do not.
Do you know why the first assistant director, head of safety, failed to detect it?
I do not.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Can I use the Elmo, please? You know what? Let me do this. Where is the defense exhibit DX?
That's H. This is H, yes.
Okay.
I just have to relabel them.
Okay.
They should be labeled, I'm not labeled.
There are 3 copies?
Yes, I just gave us extra copies.
Okay. Officer LeFleur, let's back up a little bit, okay? Did I speak with you this morning about the testimony you were going to give?
No, ma'am.
Did Ms. Johnson speak to you this morning about the testimony you were going to give?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time someone from the prosecution spoke to you about the testimony you were going to give today?
I don't believe we've talked about the testimony I was going to give, but just about the pre-trial interview.
So you mentioned a pretrial interview. So let me ask you, do you recall when your pretrial interview was? Would it refresh your memory if I showed you a copy of the transcript?
Yes.
May I? Let me know. Officer, when was your pretrial interview?
In May.
And do you recall who was there?
Somebody from the defense and somebody from the state.
Someone from the defense?
Yeah, it was a female.
Okay, so just to be clear, at your pretrial interview, it wasn't the state just speaking to you. The defense attorneys were there also, right?
Yes.
And they got to ask you almost all the questions, isn't that right?
Yes, if I can recall, the state didn't have anything to ask.
So the prosecutors didn't ask you a single question?
Not that I can remember, no.
Do you agree with the defense attorney's assertion this morning that somehow you were coached to give your testimony?
I'm going to object to that characterization, but he can answer.
Can you rephrase that question?
He's objecting to the word assertion, I believe, so why don't you rephrase it?
Did Mr. Spiro indicate to you on cross-examination did he attempt to imply that the prosecution had told you how to testify?
Essentially, it sounded like he asked if I was coached in my testimony.
But the prosecutors haven't actually told you what to testify to, have they?
No, ma'am.
You were asked several questions on cross-examination about the statement that you made that it didn't seem like Mr. Baldwin intended to commit the act. Do you recall those questions?
Yes.
Do you know what the crime that Mr. Baldwin is charged with?
I believe, involuntary manslaughter.
Is involuntary manslaughter an intentional homicide?
No, ma'am. Not to my recollection of the New Mexico State statute.
Are there criminal offenses that are intentional homicides?
Yes.
But that's not what Mr. Baldwin's charged with, right?
No.
Officer LeFleur, when you are speaking to a witness, when you were in fact speaking to witnesses at the scene, you collected their driver's licenses, didn't you?
Yes.
And what do you do when you collect the driver's license? Do you run it through a system?
I put it in our computer system, run it by driver's license in the state. It's easier than name and date of birth.
Is Defendant's Exhibit H, does that contain information about their driver's licenses?
Yes. It appeared that it was a page that showed each person's license being inputted and the return that came back from RACC or NCIC.
So I'm going to go ahead and show you what is page 3 of that. What do we call it? Is it a CAD report?
Yes.
So let me back up for a moment. What does CAD stand for? Do you remember?
I don't know the exact exactly what it stands for, no, but it's a reporting system that we use that dispatches us through. And
so this is this a dispatch log?
Yes.
I don't know what. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I know that's getting smaller and smaller, but I'm not sure what to do.
Do you want to help me out?
Do you see, no, it's not quite there yet. At the top of the page, do you see number 16? And there's a 16, and then there's a parentheses.
Yes.
What does it say?
Posted speed limit and actual.
What does posted speed limit and actual have to do with this incident?
I'm not too sure. It looks like the individual who ran it, their name, I don't know who that is.
Well, that's okay. Does this have anything to do with the incident involving Ms. Hutchins?
No.
So I want to take you down here to number 5, parentheses. What does that say?
It says non-commercial class, code D.
What is that person talking about? Does it have anything to do with the shooting of Ms. Hutchins?
No, that's the return. It came back for a driver's license, it appears.
That's the return that came back for a driver's license? Is that what you said?
That's what it appears like, yes.
Let's go down to number 10. Do you see that?
Yes.
What does that say?
Accident quantity.
Keep reading.
3, withdrawal. It looks like it's going to try to say withdrawal.
Does that have anything to do with this incident?
No.
And look, I want you to look down here at number 21. Do you see that?
Yes.
What does that say?
Of alcohol or drugs.
that you're aware of? Does that have anything to do with this incident?
No.
Let's jump down to number 26. 6. What does that say?
Objection, relevance, cumulative.
Go ahead, sir.
Says drinking and driving at .0.
Did you read it all?
Yeah, per se, I think that's what it's saying at the beginning. Dash drinking and driving at .0. I think the next line is the blood alcohol content, BAC.
Were you dispatched to a DWI?
No.
Let's have a look at page 5. Do you see up here number 23?
23 is cut off on my screen.
Oops.
No. Of alcohol or drugs.
Was this an incident that was related to alcohol or drugs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let's jump down here, if you would, to number 10. Do you see that?
It says accidental quantity 0 and then withdrawal.
Does that have anything to do with this incident?
No.
Why are we seeing that language?
It's what the NCIC return gives our CAD. As you can see, it's all within the same 1/10 of a second. So it's generated by the computer system itself.
So I've now turned the page to page 6. Do you see 10 there where it says 10 parentheses?
Accidental quantity 0 withdrawal.
Is the word accident reflective of Ms. Hutchins being shot on accident?
No.
Is the word accident in that report? Does it appear anywhere where it's talking about what happened to Ms. Hutchins?
No, right here it's just a bunch of returns.
Thank you for your time, sir. I don't have anything further.
All right, thank you. This witness is excused. Next witness.
The state calls, I'm sorry, were you?
We would now move to page 14 of that exhibit.
Come over here.